And if you guys can start sharing, that would be great.
Maybe I can start sharing a bit about my project. So I have a project that is called Pitocas Prints. And actually that name came because I created when I started making prints with Lily Knocket. So that's where everything started. But in last year, in 2019, exactly like 1 year ago, I started experimenting with some embroidery, especially on t-shirts, because I had a lot of free time. So I really like to try new things, and I'm always willing to try new techniques and explore new methods. So I just started embroidering, and I really love it. And after 1 year, I'm still embroidering, and mainly on t-shirts, and a lot of things related to phrases and words. And I think that's mainly because phrases and words and concepts are what makes me to be creative. So most of the times I actually start illustrating based on a phrase or in a song or in something that is written. So yeah, now mostly I do on t-shirts and in oops, I can show you maybe. Let me just grab. Sure. So most of the times, this is a commission work I just did, and it was with a phrase from Life of Pi. So the life was like, I suppose in the end, the whole of life becomes an act of letting go. But what always hurts the most is not taking the moment to say goodbye. So I start with a phrase, and this actually took me a long time because I was not really blocking ideas, but I end up watching the movie again, start drawing by hand. I end up drawing the tigers. So what idea is one is in color, one is in black and white, and it's mainly like duality of the movie, like who he is and who he described it he was, like the human versus the tiger. And then yeah, then I pass this on fabric and I start embroidering, and this is the final result. So so yeah, I'll start by hand drawing. It's funny because I'm digital designer as a profession and I do everything digital, but when it comes to my project, I really like handmade things and I don't want to go digital at all. So yeah, that most of my process is handmade, and then I just take my time embroidering. I think it's really relaxing and therapeutic for me. So I see myself keep going on this technique for a longer. I think linocut was really short. I think I was linocutting for like 1 year, but now embroidering it's getting more serious, and I really enjoy doing it, and I can see myself embroidering for a long time, and maybe taking this project for a long time. So if you have any questions, just drop them.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thanks. Unless you want to share anything else, or that's it?
No, I think it's fine. Maybe later, if you want, I can show you some of my things I have right here, like some t-shirts or something, but we can let that for later if some questions.
That'd be cool, yeah. Okay, so next I can share then my PowerPoint. Let's see if this doesn't lag. Awesome. Okay, so this is my logo thing. Anyway, I basically wanted to do something fun with this brand, and I think this is reflected in this little sentence on the screen. And yeah, I'm gonna do Christmas 15% off in my store from tomorrow. So I'm gonna just go through my work that I've done, and I decided to start upcycling and hand paint everything. So I'm just experimenting with different kinds of techniques. Like I'm hand painting everything, and also I did some tie-dye stuff. Also, I started embroidering with by hand and sewing machine as well. And so yeah, this is my favorite drawing to date. I think the shrimp. I don't know why, but shrimp with legs is funny to me for some reason. And this is one of the auction items. Oh, and the shirt was actually, and behind me is the one that's on auction still on my Instagram. And I started doing bucket hats as well, and they're all double-sided. And I'm hand painting, and I want to do something fun with them. So I'm kind of trying to make them a bit different. The auction hat, as well as this one, has the magnet on top, so you can put a spoon on or whatever. I don't know why I did that, but I thought it would be fun if you have lunch outside to carry your cutlery with you. And yeah, these are the masks I started doing as well. These are the two ones available at the moment. And this is where my store is located, Depop, and you can find everything on my Instagram and Facebook as well. But what I really want to talk about is my ideas for like a bit more crazy ideas, I guess. So this was a shirt that I did actually before even having a sewing machine, and I decided to do a shirt with 3 sleeves. So I want to kind of start doing stuff like that that you can actually wear. This was a prototype I did, I think, in August or September. I used a plastic bag that I had at home for the F. So I also hand painted it, and it's transparent. And I really like these kinds of details. And this was the first really wobbly attempt at sewing something, but I really like the idea of the nipple thing. I don't know why, but that was like an inside joke I think I had with some friends about stealing nipples, something stupid, and I just did this. So I love this shirt, but it's really you know, like uneven and whatever, but I keep it. And actually it inspired me to work on a t-shirt collection. So I'm gonna, like, in a couple of months, gonna release some t-shirts. All of them are gonna be different, but the drawing of the nipple is gonna probably be the same. Not the nipple, the hand holding it, trying to hold it. So yeah, maybe I'm gonna make some more holes or just draw something, I don't know, but it's kind of weird for me, so that's why I like it. And this is what I'm working on right now, the pasta shirt. So it's gonna be a shirt that looks like, you know, spaghetti was dropped on it. I'm gonna try to do pasta buttons, little pasta things. And yeah, if you have any suggestions how else I could make it weird, let me know. And I just really fell in love with this cat, so I'm gonna start drawing that tomorrow too. I have this yellow shirt. It's gonna be pretty much the same shirt like this one, but yellow. And the cat is gonna be on it. So yeah, these are a couple ideas and a couple of things that I do, and I'm gonna leave you with the kitten. And this is what I wanted to share with you. And also, I was also really interested in getting your guys' attention, because I'm really interested in collaborating with someone, potentially producing some more like ambitious stuff. When I was in Portugal, I met a guy. Well, he was my boss, and he is a musician. So he was asking me for some like merch or something fun to do, and we came up with this idea to do like it was some like a chaos of ideas that we were talking about, but we left that conversation with this one idea that it would be fun to do like a blazer that's made out of Velcro or something sticky, and you can throw like plushy toys at him while he walks around. So we thought that's really funny, and I'm gonna try to do like a little blazer prototype of that with buttons, so you can put like toys on it. So that's one of the bigger projects for, I think, next month, because I don't think I can do it this month. But yeah, basically what I'm trying to do is something weird and fun. so yeah, if you guys want to get involved in any ideas, generating ideas, or just, you know, trying to make something, that'd be really cool. Oh, I think also we lost a couple of people, right? So the order is going to change. Whoever wants to go next.
Yeah, I can go. Cool. So, hi. So my name is Eugénie, Jeannie. My little brand I started maybe 2-3 months ago now. Like a couple of you said, because I was bored, pretty much. I was just bored of my clothes in general. I felt like they were a bit basic, and I thought, what can I do? I want to learn something new. and so I started embroidering. Yeah, and I just found it really therapeutic, and it sort of inspired me to live a slightly more sustainable life, gradually, like, incorporating loads of different things. Yeah, so like I'd like to one day go off and refurbish furniture, or just learn loads of different ways of making, just incorporating a bit more sustainability in my life. So yeah, I made one of my favorites that I've made are these shorts that are up for auction on the story. I actually really like this one because I would think I'm quite a creative person, but I'm not very artistic. I think I'm just a bit too much of a perfectionist, so I actually enjoy collaborating with artists. So this is actually a friend of mine actually drew this, and I loved it so much. I was like, do you mind can I embroider it? And she thought, yeah, go for it. So yeah, that's something that I really look forward to, being still quite early days in this little venture. Like Vicky said, being able to collaborate with people who are sharing ideas. I think all of us are a bit new at this sort of stuff, so it's quite cool to be able to, share ideas and see what can come of it, really. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Can I go next? Yeah, you really inspired me because, yeah, like 2 years ago I also started embroidery and stuff. And I also picked up some artist kind of designs, and I tried to embroider that, and that it was really nice, but it was not my thing. But yeah, it's really nice that all of us who presented, we are all embroidering a bit. We all know about this area, but yeah, when I was well, I'm Martyna, and when I was thinking how can I present myself, I don't know. I suppose I have to call myself ceramicist, but it's really still weird for me to call myself that because I'm also very new in this. Well, I've been doing this kind of professionally for kind of half a year. So yeah, it's still a beginning, but I'm really happy where it's going. To explain my brand name a bit, maybe it will tell a little bit more about me. So my brand name is MaŽa Ceramics, and basically it's my name and surname first letters. So that's it. Thank you, guys. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, basically in Lithuanian language, MaŽa means little, and my hands are very little. And my whole life, everybody was making fun of that. Not mean fun, but very cute, in a cute way. So yeah, that's a part of me. But also, if you put accent to first part of this word, you would make it MaŽa, and in Lithuanian language, it would be not enough. And in Facebook first introduction post, I wrote that my whole life I was feeling that it was not enough, but now I'm feeling better. And yeah, basically I went through lots of phases in my life. I embroidered, I did arts and crafts, I did that, and then but it was always like ceramics was always an idea that I want to do, but I was not maybe mature enough to come to this conclusion that I need to do this. And then when I came to it, it felt really good, and now I'm really happy with everything. Basically, my works right now are inspired by nature. Well, I think they will always be inspired by nature, but right now the theme is forest, and I picked up a really kind of particular accent, which was mushroom, and I put on my works right now. After I take everything from this mushroom and forest theme, I think I'm going to get over to this water theme. But yeah, this is a little bit connected with water, with the glacier. Yeah, but I really like to do incense holders. Yeah, they're really cool. Yeah, I also wanted to tell you guys that kind of most of my inspiration comes from others, I guess, from talking to people, of course, from nature as well. But so I'm really up for collaborating. Of course, it's quite difficult because you guys, well, at least who presented already, they're all connected with clothes and I'm with ceramics. But if we can connect in some sort of way, I would be really happy, and I'm looking forward in collaborating with some of you. So yeah, that's it.
Embroidery on
Amazing. I
ceramic
already have
frames.
some questions.
Okay.
Okay,
Hi.
who wants to? Yeah.
So yeah, hi everyone. I am Marija, and I'm presenting KadrųKadras. Who we are? It's basically two people, me and my husband, who created this 2 years ago. We started just as an analog film community, just sharing photographs, knowledge, how to shoot film, how to do experiments, how to develop it. Then we somehow thought that we feel a lack of films, where to buy, where to get that. So we thought that let's create a shop, just from the idea that we need that. And let's sell films that are not available in Lithuania. So we started to buy films from different vendors, and in this way we saw that film community is big enough to have it and to grow it. So what we do right now, it's almost 2 years of our shop being alive, and meanwhile we have succeeded with the shop and we built a community. So with the community, we saw that people love to share their photographs that are shoot with our films. So they share the questions, they share their ideas, and with that as well, we are doing workshops. Right now it's not possible, but before the COVID, we were having the workshops like monthly. Every month we had like a black and white film workshop, color developing with the paper from negatives, and also we help people, and we do some analog services like developing their films, scanning different processes. If you have any question with the analog camera or film, maybe it's expired, maybe you don't know how to use it, just you can drop email or drop a message. We love to help people. Some people actually they just are taking videos that we don't know, and they are sending to us and talking to us like, hi, this is my camera, look at it, I don't know how to work with that, and I'm so impressed that they feel like they know us, but we haven't seen them. So it's really nice that when they need help with that, they're just straightforward. And for this Christmas auction, I have chosen 10 photographs, and for this they are going to be made into postcards, and they are just inspired basically by nature. And some of the films, like this blue one, is a creative film, not just color but with some effects. So all photographs basically that we are taking are inspired by nature and by the atmosphere that we are into that at that specific moment. For example, this film is purple chrome. It's made from the ideas from the old slide film, but it has just pinkish and purple colors on it, so no yellows and no reds. We created a hashtag named FSUMMER. I will translate it. It will be film is not dead. So I just saw that people are just tagging that, and right now we have something like from 3,500 to 4,000 photographs that are tagged with just this one hashtag. So people are sharing their photographs, their analog experiences, and it's really happy. I'm really happy with that. That's it. Thanks.
That's so cool. Yeah, I saw your page. I haven't seen it before actually, so it was really cool to see something like that in Lithuania as well.
All right, let's do it. Okay. So you guys are scaring me with your very professional presentations because No, I'm kidding. I'm not in the auction actually, but I want to share my work. So I'm Guilherme Festas. I go by Gui, which is also my nickname, but I like using my nickname also as kind of a professional, more like as my as my artistic name too. So I want to share with you guys my work. I have mainly some ideas. I have many different things done, and yeah, I'm mainly here for to show my work and ask questions for like what are you guys' suggestions? What do you guys think is better about my work? What is not? What should I invest in? What should I not? So right now I'm in my space in my atelier. The last thing I've done is very similar to Viktorija's, I believe, not in such a let's say a humorous way. So I have been upcycling some used shirts and some used clothing with painting over it, based on some of my illustrations or based on the aesthetics I have. So I'm gonna share my screen. I've taken some photos because I'm gonna show them here, but maybe the quality is not so great. So I think the pictures might help a little bit. So this is some shirts. This is a shirt that we have bought in here locally. And so you can see the colors here very well, but I decided to do an illustration very much in my style, which is nothing really. It's just an illustration based on nature too, as many of you guys, I think we all love nature, right? So I try to bring some ideas, some concepts. I really like to use symbols in my illustrations. Sometimes they mean something, sometimes they mean something only to me. Sometimes they're open to interpretation. I find this one a little bit more funny. It's like just this little guy sitting on a tree trunk as if he was speaking to you very condescendingly. But yeah, he has this shape thing on his as a face. I don't really have like a big meaning for it. I just find them interesting and fun. I'm gonna try to share them on my camera too, so you guys can see. This one actually has a back too. So I've got the front. And I think you can see the colors better here, maybe. Or maybe not. Yeah. So this is like a gradient on the center of some blues and yellows. And on the back, I've got this, which is just like a texture, basically. So this is my work on clothing. Then I've got a few illustrations too that I have sold some prints of, but have currently none available. But I'm thinking about doing some more. Maybe you guys can tell me if you find a good idea, which ones are better or not. Maybe, yeah, maybe later, but I'm gonna show them anyway.
Actually, I really like your black and white drawings that I saw on
Thank you.
Instagram. I think it's super good.
I find them a little, I don't know, sometimes I'm a little afraid they might look a little incomplete because of only being black and white, and I don't know, but I like them.
I found them very detailed, and I just really like this style. So
Thank you so much.
I think you should keep
All right.
doing it.
Okay, this is not opening, but okay, some are opening. I've got this, yeah, exactly. They're very detailed, which is a shame because on Instagram you can't see very much of the detail, so they don't really work very well for social media, which is a shame nowadays because it's mostly the best way to share my things. But yeah, I do all of this with pen, sometimes brush. It depends on the work. I started a lot by doing this black and white, and now I'm exploring more like things with color, always with this very surrealistic style. I'm always searching what I can do with them, and besides prints, I haven't found much more things. Now I've found these clothing ideas, which I have a lot of questions to ask about you guys that understand a bit more of this, because I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades. So I've tried a lot of things. I haven't stick with one, but I should stick with some, like to try them a bit more professionally. But I'm still not sure. So yeah, I'm not currently selling anything, but I'm planning on it. So I'm just gonna share some of my work. Got some different styles. And yeah, besides this, I also do paintings, which is probably a thing that I'm gonna mostly invest in the future. Paintings and more of this clothings and I don't know, things I can use paint on instead of only drawings and inks and stuff. Yeah, that's me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope we can talk a little bit more. And I'm really glad to know you guys are looking for people to collab with, because that's great. I mean, I haven't got any projects setting up. I've got a lot of time. So if you guys like my stuff, talk to me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love your
it is
drawings,
nice.
especially the black and white ones. But yeah, go on, Nuely.
Sorry. Guilherme, yes?
Yeah, that's me.
Actually, I also really like your stuffs because they
Thank
remind me of a friend of mine. His name is João. Can you see this?
Wait, let me.
His works reminds
Yeah.
me of yours.
I can see it very well, but I guess I can understand the idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
First is
yeah, say it.
first he started as a black and white, then he started painting, and I think it's amazing the level of the details you guys do. You really have a lot of patience.
Mm. It's kind of an obsession. You start with with a big thing, and then you just kind of, oh, I could add something. I can't get away from it. But
Yeah.
nice. I love comics too, so I really relate to your friend. Thank you
Yeah.
for saying.
So now I think I'm the last one. I have to start my presentation. So I'm Nuely, the one behind Cozy Cozy. Like most of you, I started Cozy Cozy in quarantine. I was bored. And so I started going through Instagram, and since I follow a lot of pages about art and design, since I'm a design student, and I wanted to do something that was my own, like that I would do something that I would feel like myself without anyone telling me anything. I would just do it just because I want to, the way I want to. I was tired of doing things like the right way, that's how you should do. I just wanted to do it. So that's how Cozy Cozy started. I started doing illustrations that somehow I got inspiration in classic art and African art. If you can see my basically my illustrations or me or woman figure, long neck, thin, and they kind of remind me of my African heritage. And the artwork that they do, it's basically a flat silhouette, and I enjoy to give more color and more life to those illustrations, and I try to play a lot with color, normally pastel color, because I like to be basic, very simple, both at the same time, and that's it. That's how Cozy Cozy was. And the name Cozy Cozy, actually, I gave it because when I finished the first drawing, I looked at it and I said, so. And I was like, could it be the name for my brand? And then I started typing to see which language to put, and I found Italian. The one that was nicer to give it would be sound more nice, actually. And that's it.
I was wondering what does the name mean. So yeah, thank you for that. And I was also thinking maybe I should share at least Instagram accounts of those who dropped out the call, but 3 other people who were willing to join us for the chat. So I'm just gonna quickly share the screen. Okay, so Yava, the illustrator who met Leo apparently, and is auctioning a couple of prints. I just wanted to scroll through her work. I really love also the boldness of it. It's like Nuely said, I guess they kind of share that similarity, but a different sort of sensitivity to the work. there was also Titas, who is upcycling materials for sports apparel. These are really cool. And I think he used kites as one of the materials for these hats. So that was really cool. And I wanted him to tell us more about that. So I guess next time we'll do that. And there was also Gintare. She is a photographer and started doing these prints. This one is really lovely. She's auctioning this one still tonight. And here is her Instagram account. And she also, I think she did work with film at some point, but is into advertising and developing a couple other projects as well. So yeah, follow those people too. I wanted to ask some questions, I guess, now. So you guys all mentioned nature. Martyna said it was really lovely that you said mushrooms are your inspirations. It's such a specific thing. So I was wondering, like, do you have...
Mushrooms are so beautiful. I actually relate a lot to that.
It's amazing. I was also thinking that in my personal work, I find a lot of inspiration in very specific things. For example, the last one that I remember, I think I was on the open day Zoom call for this education program or something, and there was a guy whose last name was Proud Foot, and I started imagining like these feet that, you know, they're so proud to be feet, and I was like, things like that really inspire me, like some silly concepts. I was wondering if you have any kind of memories of like the weirdest inspirations that you ever had, or just like something that really stuck with you.
I got one. One time I was really inspired by, like, it's not weird or funny, but it's very specific. Just like you're watching a show, and the show, I don't know, has nothing to do with nature, or it's something totally not about it, but suddenly there's just like this one shot, and I was like, whoa. Suddenly I had 100 ideas just out of this, like, this one shot image, because like composition, and I don't know. It's like just sometimes you're watching something and suddenly just, I don't know, a movie or something, and suddenly just pop, inspiration comes out of nowhere. And like, okay, you're even asking if you should pause it and go do something, or at least sketch the idea. I don't know.
Write it down.
Yeah, or write it down.
I think that's like one of my issues. Like I just don't find inspiration very easily, and then something will happen. I'm like, oh my god, I got to write it down. Like I won't necessarily go back to that idea and do it because I'm a bit of a procrastinator. But like, for example, I don't know why I don't know. I think I was like thinking about global warming or something, and then I looked at one. Like I do vintage clothing as well as embroidery, and I was looking at a shirt, like, you know, like a checkered shirt. So like, for example, and I was thinking like a global warming, and I was just thinking of like embroidering like some waves at the bottom, and like obviously the water, as if the water is getting higher, and then just draw little stick men like climbing as if it's like a grid, you know, trying to get up like away from the water. Like I don't know if I'm explaining it well, but like that was just in my head. Like, that's so, I reckon that would be cool. Yeah. But yeah,
you should make this project like each year. You should rise up the level of the water, you know. Add up.
Yeah, make it like a proper like statement piece.
Yeah, a statement piece. Like you don't sell the shirt, but you have like wherever so just when it's done, you can sell it.
That's it.
Yeah, I actually also have really hard time writing down ideas. I usually just like, I'm so overwhelmed with something that I want to do at that very moment. You know, I'm inspired and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just do this now. So I start working on something, and I'm completely like dissolved in that process. And then whenever I get other ideas or inspirations, I'm just like, oh yeah, I really want to do that too, but now I'm, you know, preoccupied. So okay, I'll do it later. But then for some reason I don't
so many things
write it down. Yeah, like, and then I remember it like 2 months later, and I'm like, oh damn, I could have done this, or you know. So yeah, I also don't know how to create a habit of writing down things. I think that's quite important as well.
I mean, I think I can share with you like the way that I'm doing, because I really relate what you're saying, that it's like I have this idea, I want to work on something, and then I start working, but then I have another idea and I want to start that one so the moment doesn't go away. But as I told you, I really like the phrases and words and the way people talk and the way people think. So actually last year I started this little notebook that I actually make then like November 2019. So every time I have an idea or I have a feeling, because all these words actually came from feelings, so I just write them, whatever.
Nice.
So I mean, the object for this is like, so if I don't have ideas, I just come here and I say, okay, I've been writing this. Like sometimes they are really cliches, but it's more like what people feel, right? I have this king of imperfections, of working with imperfections and accepting imperfections. So I thought, okay, I will assume it. So I will just write in a book whatever I'm feeling, just normally small phrases, ideas also for t-shirts. I don't know. No. Yeah. So if I just have an idea, I draw it there. So far, I'm just been adding ideas. I never came back and say, okay, what I'm gonna do, and at least I'm adding it, and I know that, yeah, I have here something. So probably some ideas will be lost in this book, but at least in the moment I feel safe. I'm like, okay, no, this is written down. Probably the moment will not be, I mean, it's not going to be the same, because sometimes I feel like, oh, I will write it down and tomorrow I work. But the problem is like the next day I don't feel it as much as the moment I had the idea. So I'm like, okay, now it's gone. Like I don't really want to do it. It's so rational, right? After writing it becomes so rational. So
Yeah, you
like,
might actually start questioning the idea in itself. Like, oh, yesterday it seemed like such a great idea, and today it's like, maybe I'm just not in the mood, and it's still a good idea. I don't know. Most of the times that's it. Sometimes you're so like obsessed with this thing, you start doing it, and for you it has such a big dimension already that the idea that almost like seems too little for it. But in reality, it's just that it's been only what you've been working for so long.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean,
sometimes it's okay to step away. I think that's cool, and I also like to keep like 2 or 3 projects at the same time. So once I get tired of one, I start doing the other one, because
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
That really helps actually to kind of start looking at another project from a different angle maybe, and even have new input, you know, and kind of adjust it to the mood that you have at that moment or something like that. Yeah, it's really hard to work on something on one piece for extended periods of time, I find. And like the painting clothes, who, you know, people who embroider as well, I think you understand how long it takes. So it's like hours and hours on the same thing, and you kind of like, oh, I need to disconnect. But then you don't want to be unproductive. For example, that's my thing. So I'm like, I don't want to, you know, step away and not do anything. So this kind of switching between projects is also a really good idea.
Yeah, for sure. And still still maintaining that routine, that rhythm. I feel like that's my thing. Like if I stay too long away from my embroidery, I'll just be like, even though like I really enjoy doing it and I know it's like quite therapeutic, I think I always have this sort of like this bit of anxiety, like starting something new. Just because you're just such a perfectionist and you just don't want it to go wrong, sort of thing. Yeah, that's definitely like a challenge for sure.
As Inês said, you have like this book, right? I feel like I would need to write down an idea right away, and otherwise I don't like. I remember it, but I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But it's like once you have it like physically, you know, written down, and you can always come back to it. And I think it's also like in any kind of creative field, I think that's really important to have that database, you know, of inspiration that already came to you, and that's what I really struggle with. And sometimes it's like, I remember that, for example, I had a really good idea a couple of days ago, and I'm like, oh, I cannot remember it anymore, and I don't want to explore anything else, and I'm just like so focused on retrieving that.
Yeah, but even for me, sometimes I have this idea and I write it down like with the like keywords, if you just visual, and then the next day I'm looking, I'm like, well, what was I meant with this? You know, I don't know.
What is this?
I had this epiphany. I write it down, and I'm like, oh, what? This and this, like, what the fuck I'm supposed to do? The bottle in myself, I'm like, and now it's sober. Okay, like this is all 100% sober. I'm like, I'm looking like, yeah, it was perfect idea, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I get that for sure. Like I play like a bit of guitar, and like literally for years, I was always like, I'd love to be able to write my own songs, but I'm just so bad at writing. Just in general, I've always been so bad. But like I literally for years, I have like honestly just hundreds of notes on my phone of just the cheesiest like phrases you could ever think of, you know? And when
Yeah,
you write,
that's
this
what
is great, like, oh, this is like a new single, it's gonna be
Oh,
great. You just look at
that's
it
so
2
true.
days later, like, oh my god, it's disgusting.
Sometimes the phrase has to go with a feeling, and not feeling it
Yeah,
anymore. Ah, it's only cheesy now.
I mean, that's okay. I think it's fair enough if you just feel like cheesy. It's fine.
mm,
I noticed
Cheesy
a
is
lot of that.
fine.
I noticed a lot of that. I started keeping, not only artistically, I started keeping a diary, just also to get a routine, at least writing something, and like if you want to check on it, like, so if you can check on your art too, but for example, checking on your own productivity and like your life in general by the diary. Sometimes it's nice to keep it, and I find sometimes myself reading such like stupid phrases, sometimes inspirations that just after some time just don't make sense anymore. That's also
yeah.
very true. I think some ideas just flowing away, but that's why it's important to keep a lot of them.
I think like even if an idea is like long enough, I think at one point you understand like, okay, this is really a serious idea because it passed months,
That's
maybe
true.
1 year. I'm like, I still have this idea. So it's not a moment idea. It's not that idea I had in the moment. I thought it was brilliant, and 1 week later I forgot. But this happens
Yeah.
a lot of times. But I have these ideas I have been thinking doing like for a year, and that's when I know it's like, okay, I really have to do this because it's 1 year now, and I still think about it. So it's credible, it's something I
Yeah,
really
it's
do.
like what Marta, yeah, something
Martina,
that
sorry.
you said it about ceramics. You said like you've always wanted to sort of try it, but you didn't know if you're mature enough. And I always had the idea of like do maybe not I don't know, maybe some ceramics or like pottery. Like it's something that I've always like loved to learn to do. Like I've never,
Mm.
I don't know, it's just something so cool, I think. And
Yeah,
so yeah, when you said you're open to do collaborations, whenever you're in Portugal and you want to give us some private lessons, yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
I'll be
can tell
open.
We'll
you
go
a
to
little
Portugal.
bit. You guys were talking about how do you develop ideas and everything, and in ceramics is a bit different, so that's
Right.
why I couldn't participate in your conversation. But basically, yeah, in ceramics you get you get the clay, and of course you need to get an idea of sorts, but sometimes you don't even have an idea,
Just
but
go
you
with the flow.
start, but you start doing that and the idea comes to you. But that's, more difficult part of doing ceramics. But if you have an idea and you start doing it, you have a result quite quickly, right? And if you embroider or you paint, it's a long process, so you have to continue. But with ceramics, it's quite quick. Like in 1 day or max 2, you have your kind of sort of product. So you don't have to fight with yourself, whether you want to continue or not. And basically the next project is kind of becoming quite similar, maybe a little bit of adjustments, but but the process of itself, the idea generation process is not that demanding, I guess, because you just basically do the same thing, but each time it gets a bit different. But you do until you feel that it's not good enough anymore and you want to go to another idea. That's the process of ceramics. And of course, I'm up to giving workshops. I already did for some friends, but if I'm ever in Portugal or wherever in the world, I'm
Yeah,
always up for
for sure,
workshops.
for sure.
Yeah. What's your process? I really got curious because I do clay sometimes, but I only know clay. I know how it works. Like it takes some time to dry. It's not very good for some objects you might want to create. Like if I want to do a mug or something, I won't use like clay. So like I was really interested in your work. I found it really beautiful, and I was like, well, damn, like what? How does this work? Like how do you do this actually? Like technically.
Well, in my case, you have to find a person who is really professional in this area who can lead you to the right direction. So I kind of had this person, but yeah, there are some technicalities that if you want to do one sort of project, you have to choose one type of clay. But if you want to do another sort of project, you have to choose another type of clay. And each clay feels different in your hands. And with each clay, you can make different sort of stuff. But making clay, like making your, I don't know, a pot or whatever you are doing, is a one step. Then you bake it, and then another world is a glacier, or the second bake that we are making. Most of my stuff that you saw, we are doing in a like raku ceramics technique, which is basically you do in gas gas stove. You put all the stuff. It's like a big oven that you put your stuff in. You make them very hot, like 1000 Celsius. They're very hot, and then while they're hot, you put in the bread rye. That's what we are doing. We put in the bread rye. It's very liquid and everything, and then it gets a texture and everything. You can also put, yeah, you can also put in some newspapers, or some people like to put feathers, and then it's a nice texture you will see in the social media. So yeah, it's another world. So both parts are exciting, but the first one is more creative, the second one is more technical, and you need to also know lots of details of it.
Yeah, you do this in like a studio, or like?
Well, I'm working with that artist who led me to this road. She has everything in there, but I'm hoping next year I will be able to manage to get my own stuff where I live, and then I can do in my place. Then you can guys come from Portugal, from wherever here, and we can do.
Yeah. So that's like a demand that's sometimes hard to find if you don't have like the means. Yeah, like to find where I get this stove for my art. Like if you want to just try, it's really hard. You have to try with a simpler and maybe.
I thought it's difficult. But I'm living in quite a small city, and all the opportunities are very easy. So I think you just need to find the right people, because lots of people are doing clay, I think. Yeah. But they are not very popular, I guess.
I always wanted to try making something like mugs, whatever. But this idea of baking clay, I'm like, what is this? You know, like it seems so. It's like so technical and so far away from what I know, and I'm like, okay, I need to find a place to do it. So for me, it was always like very distant discipline, and I never kind of, you know, even I didn't know how to even start exploring it. But it sounds like, I guess it's not that difficult after all.
For the beginning, I have some tips. Like there is a clay that dries in the air, so you can just basically, but you cannot use it for eating, or you cannot get wet or anything, but you can make sculptures or anything you want, you can do with it. There's another clay that you can bake in the oven at 250 degrees. So that's also an option, but these options are just, you know, for sculptures and everything. But if you want to make real ceramic, then you need to find the right person.
And yesterday I was trying to do something nice for Christmas for like my aunt, and I did this like little I can't show it, wait, like this little tower thing out of clay. But yeah, this one is the one you can't get it wet.
That's cool.
I think the closest I did to clay, and it's not even clay, but I think was my attempt to create something that is not clay, but at least I can feel it. Was in this quarantine, I started investigating a lot about paper mache. I don't know really how to say it.
Oh yeah.
So I started by doing first, like it was a aeroplane for my nephew. So I just did with the layers. And then I guess my algorithm on YouTube got full of it, so I started receiving a lot of videos for paper mache. So I ended up watching how to really make clay from paper mache. So I actually ended up doing it, and I created, it was mainly to create some pots. I tried to do it waterproof. I couldn't, but it was really nice to feel the material and to create it around. So yeah, that's the closest I got, because exactly the same problems. Like, yeah, I would love to try clay, but know all the materials, what to do with
Yeah.
why. So actually enjoy paper mache, but as you said, it's only for sculpture or something that's not going to be cooking
But
or
it's
eating.
so nice that you started it. You know all the process how to make it from the beginning, from when it becomes a kind of.
I mean, yeah, it was
It's
really.
really
I think
nice.
I went too far ahead. I think because I remember I just like I smashed it like 4 newspapers. And I thought, okay, this is not going to be that much. But then when I shoot them, then I put them in water. And then the next day I had a huge pot full of smashed newspaper. And when I took the water and I started to blend it, I actually took the blender from my kitchen. So I did a mess in that day. And then until today, I still have some paper mache that I didn't mix with the glue. So I still have a pot like this big that is just newspapers that shredded. So I was like, okay, I did it maybe too far, and I did a whole batch of it. But it was really fun. It was really, really fun.
Now that you're talking about it, last year I also tried clay. I even have an Instagram page, but I stopped working on it. Maybe now that I started studying again. No, because it took me a lot of time to paint, to bake it. Then I kind of stopped, not quit yet. And I basically used to mix a clay with paper to do a necklace.
Okay.
Like very tiny things, very simple shapes. But I enjoyed it. It's actually a very nice thing to do and therapeutic. I feel like starting it again, but not now. But it's actually a very funny thing to do.
Yeah, lots of people are using like clay or ceramics as a therapeutic thing, and there are lots of classes of just therapeutic ceramics.
Yeah, I feel like in general, physicality of making something is very therapeutic because you're concentrated on something that you're doing, right? Before I started painting physically on clothes, I did some digital designs, and that was also like it would consume me, and I would really disconnect from everything. But it's a very different experience from that to having a full control of everything in your environment, so I can see the benefits as well in using those kind of things for therapy, like therapeutical. Yeah, it's really nice.
What kind of not dyes, like paints do you use on your paintings, like for shirts and everything? Because I've tried acrylics and I find them really hard. Like I think the I'm gonna show my problem. So like not so
All right.
much in this one, in the other shirt maybe. I mean, you can see it doesn't bend very well because yeah, it's a really thick layer.
Yeah.
And sometimes
I
I
feel,
might just stop using maybe, so like I don't know, maybe it's not so thick layers or maybe not so big drawings because of that. But do you use acrylics too, or do you use anything else?
I mainly use acrylics now because I also noticed it's very hard, and it's very hard to make something if you need to, like, if you want layers, shadows, gradients, whatever. So, but because my work is mainly, bold, separate colors, it's kind of working for me that way. But I also have some paints specifically for textile that I bought from like art shops and stuff like that.
Oh,
And they're
yeah.
very similar to acrylics, but they're
Yeah.
softer.
Oh, okay.
And so it's kind of like, for example, painting on this shirt that I'm wearing, right? So I painted this neck with acrylics, and it's super hard right now. And the shirt itself is super soft. So some of the parts I painted with textile paint, and it's very flowy, but it had similar kind of texture to acrylics, so it's easier on certain fabrics, I guess. But
Yeah,
also
on
I
some of
saw
the.
this hack. So you can use acrylics with fabric softener. It's just a little bit of it, and then if you mix it, it's also like better for thin and stretchy fabrics. So if you like when you wash it afterwards, or stretch it, it doesn't like crumble, and the layer is a little bit softer. So maybe that's something you could experiment with as well.
I wouldn't find it as much of a problem if I didn't do such big things, you know, like this layer is really like huge and it's in the center.
Yeah.
And the actual shirt is kind of thin. So yeah, maybe not doing this. For example, this one I find the drawing better, but the actual shirt in itself, I don't think it works very well. I tried wearing it. I'm a bit big, but still, I found it kind of uncomfortable. The other one's better in that sense, but like if there was a kind of a sheet out of it, it would be nice. But yeah, so this so the softener helps, and yeah, this one I used a bit of a specific fabric specific paint, and it's not as thick. Yeah, it's kind of softer. I might just do smaller drawings or like not in such uncomfy places maybe.
Yeah, that's really annoying because like I love the boldness of acrylic, and it's so easy for me to work with it at this point, but then I really have to choose the different fabric and be sure that it's also thick enough and it's not going to be uncomfortable to wear and stuff like that. Because some of the stuff that I've done in like the early days, it's like the 3-sleeve shirt. One of the sleeves is completely painted with acrylics with like little yellow F letters, and the background is white. So it's like super thick, like you cannot even, you can bend it a little bit, but like it creases and just stays in that position then.
But maybe it's like protective, you know, like if you are in some sort of accident, then you will not hit yourself.
Oh, definitely. Do some like biker shirts and paint like in the
Exactly.
Bulletproof.
Oh, they're thick. Yeah, will work.
That's a good idea. Okay, I'm gonna remarket my stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you can also check the block printing ink. I know there is always like for paper and there is some for fabric. So it's meant to be printed with linocut. It's made for fabric. So maybe if you paint it with pencils or something, it might work because it's for fabrics anyway.
Viktorija, have you considered like other means, like a printing mean, or you're only with like actually intervening?
I really enjoy it, but I'm thinking like if I wanted to do this more professionally, let's say, I could not possibly complete enough pieces to like be able to support myself with that, you know, for a living, let's say. I'm just saying like in the future, if that was my goal, I would have to start looking for something else, like some other means of producing imagery on clothes, because it takes so much time. And it's also because, you know, as you said, I'm like very impulsive with my ideas, so my ideas always like transform in the middle of making them as well. So I'm like, oh, but I want to do this or add this or blah blah, and I don't feel like the piece is complete or whatever. So it takes me a long time to complete one thing, especially if I also want to upcycle, as in like sew something together, then it's, you know, 1 week minimum for one item. So it's very time consuming, but the process itself I really love. So I'm kind of in a conflict now, but I'm gonna also try to explore different ideas. And yeah, I'm also like very fascinated with embroidery. I know it also takes a lot of time, but it's something that I want to maybe combine more with painting and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting because then you would have like almost 2 levels to your products. You'll have like the printed ones, the more quick to do, and then with like, the original one, which would make like it was like just one. It was your intervention. And like this one special, and we'll give more like a.
Yeah, exactly. It can be levels.
And even the print,
sure.
I think there are means for like printing yourself, not like just send them to places. You have like techniques. I've done it I've done it in college, and I can't remember the name.
I remember doing something like that as well.
We're talking about it, like you actually paint the layers of paint like on the shirt itself. What?
Maybe screen printing.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I've done that for sure. Like I had a workshop like years ago somewhere.
Really chemical process, and it takes a while.
I wanted to talk about one thing that I struggled with before, like a couple, years ago, I think, when I started doing creative things in general. And when I thought of this event thing, I contacted some of you guys and some other people, and majority of people's responses were, "Oh, this is so cool, but I don't feel like an artist or a maker. They're not confident enough in the work." For example, like that's how I perceived that. So it was really kind of appalling to me, because everyone that I approached, I genuinely really like the stuff that they're making, and you guys. And I'm like, how can this person that I kind of look up to, feel like, oh my God, I don't want to share my work. So, and yeah, so I thought it would be really interesting to talk about that, because I found it really hard to share my work when I started. I think it was before university when I started doing things. I think mainly I was doing video and animations and stuff, and sharing the work in process was like horrible. I could not do that. I was like, oh, if someone, like it's not finished, and if someone criticizes it, like they're criticizing me. And I was always like looking for a way to disconnect from my work, not to feel, criticized personally or something. And it was really hard to like find ways to deal with this idea of sharing work and feeling good about it, feeling confident about whatever you're doing. Like, I don't know, like, how do you, if you had those things, or like, how do you feel? Like, Martyna, I remember you said your project's really like fresh, and you made this like a Facebook page recently, right? So I remember I liked it, and I was like, I really want to get in touch with you, but I was really afraid that you would also be like, oh, I just started, So really happy that you're actually talking with us. But did you ever have like, or do you still have that, nervousness about sharing the work, and why do you think that is? Why do you feel like you not have confidence in it, or is it something else?
Well, for me personally, well, I was kind of, when you offered me to participate in this, I was just up for it, because I was feeling quite okay, I think, about what I do. And I got quite some works that I have. Yeah, I had quite many works. So basically I built up the portfolio, but it took me a while to set up the social media channels. Yeah, it took me like I think a month or something, that I was deciding whether I should do it or not. Maybe I'm too noob in this, maybe. But then at the end I was like, okay, I will build up this as a portfolio. Expectation is not to sell, something. It's just to show world what I'm doing. And I think it's a process of growing as well, because I need this feedback of people, whether they like it, whether they don't like it. So now I'm feeling really good about it when I started thinking this way. But when I was younger, oh my God, it was so difficult to share what I'm doing, because the judgment, especially in this conservative country of Lithuania, and then in the Panevėžys city, which is the most beautiful city in the world. Oh my God, it's really difficult times to share your work there. It's all the people are judging, all the kids are judging. Yeah, so I was having a really hard time. And I always wanted to create something, but then I was, socially very, very not free. I was really afraid to show others what I'm doing. But I think with years you come with the realizations that nothing good will come up with this. You have to show your stuff, and you have to, yeah. I was watching.
So this is more like experience kind of thing that you start realizing over the years that that's actually more beneficial to me to show and collaborate and get feedback.
Yeah, that's a long topic that I could talk about creativity, where it comes from, for me. And then but basically it came for me with years, when I was working with myself, with my confidence and everything.
I think it's also a consequence of social media. on society, and it's not maybe not so much related to the art and to selling or to show your process or what you're doing and putting out there, even if it's not a finished product. In social media is like that feeling that okay, it's not good enough because probably I follow people that have like 2,000 likes on each post, and sometimes it's a post that's not really like it might not even be a product, might be maybe material, maybe just the material they use and they got like 2,000. And maybe for us that might be in the beginning and starting might not be so encouraging, but I think that's a syndrome of social media, and that I would say that everyone depends, no matter the field and what's the goal on social media, they will feel that in a way. Um, so I think, yeah, if you are starting kind of a business or if you want to show out what you do and you are shy, then that's a smash when you get in social media and if you have high expectations and then you understand that okay, it's fine if you don't have 2,000 likes, it's fine if you don't get hundreds of comments. I think it's about accepting, and I agree with Martyna. The years comes and it's like okay, I don't care. Just put out there. People will like it. People will not like it. It's fine. Just you go with the flow.
It's a bit tricky with that. You always create many expectations because of comparing a little bit. I've always struggled also identity-wise because of the many things I do. I'm only starting to narrow down now. So like for sharing on social media and everything, I was always kind of afraid of showing also because I felt like I didn't have an identity. And I've kind of realized that the identity comes with time also. You start, like as you create projects and as you create routine, they start making sense together. But I was also like, oh, I don't think people understand, or I don't think people like still enjoy because it's nothing still. I don't know. It's always still on a process. It's not ready. It's not like. But that comes with time. So yeah, eventually I started. Also, I only think I started this year with social media, and I have been creating content since forever. Um, but um, but yeah, so it took me a lot of time, and I created a little like of an overthinking too, like how should I do this? How should I present stuff? But eventually, I guess you start losing the fear as you go. Yeah, the fear, and you don't care anymore. Yeah, you're just happy you're showing. You're just happy like because I mean, as artists and I don't know, as creators, I think. Um, it's what we want to do. It's to influence people, right? We want people to like our things. We want to send a message, maybe. As we're doing our stuff for ourselves, we also want some feedback. We could only be doing them for ourselves, but I think no one here is interested in like a solo project just alone. We're all interested in like connecting with people through this. And, it's what we do. It's like our contribution. So yeah, I think it's important to start showing, even if it's not 100% ready.
The more I talk about this topic, the more I realize like I don't know about you, but for me it's like creating, and then when it comes the time to photograph it and post it, then I hate it. I just hate it so much. I'm like, okay, now I have to post, now I have to show, now I have to photograph, I have to go looking for hashtags, I have to write the description. So I think it's also, at least I started feeling that about myself, that it's not really what I really enjoy to do. I really enjoy to create, I really enjoy to do the thing itself, but all this back office work, I don't like it at all. So I think when you like something, you really get into and you are good at it. But once, actually was a teacher who told me once, not related to this, was just a topic. And he just said this, and for me, made really, really sense. I was like, artists are great creators, but they are the worst selling themselves. And I really find that, and I really find out it's like, yeah, I want to create, but then maybe to dedicate some time, at least I feel that maybe if I actually enjoy it or if I dedicate myself more to this social media thing, maybe the result will be better. Maybe I could sell more work, maybe I will get more reactions. But the thing is like it's so boring for me to do it that I really sense like that phrase for me stuck in my head was like, yeah, artists are great creating, they are worth selling themselves.
I don't know, I haven't finished any new like embroidery pieces in a couple of weeks now. But like when I'll sell something, like I'll be really happy that I've sold it, but there'll be a little part of me, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna miss that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you were so
Yeah.
used to having it around, and like you've like invested so much time in something, and you're just like, oh man. I mean, I'm happy for it. This is great, but like, I'm really gonna miss it. It's weird.
Yeah, it's maybe like for me, it sounds like it's kind of like an identity issue because you kind of want the completion of the piece, you know, for everyone else to kind of perceive you the way you want to be perceived or something. And like for me, you know, when I was younger, it was really important to have that completion before anyone else sees it, because like this is my safe zone. And eventually, I guess you kind of get well, realize that, you know, you're always changing, there's no completion, so therefore, you know,
Yeah.
there's never going to be this feeling of satisfaction or like feeling of, you know, or knowing how you want to be perceived or something. So for me, that was like a really like major breaking point in being able to share my process with people.
I mean, then it's also good, at least we will have something to look back and see, okay, this is what I
Exactly.
did and this is what I'm doing now. At least it's documented, you know, I can go back and see, oh, I
For
started.
sure. So I was thinking, if you want to think of the questions, we can still do that, but maybe you have some artists or projects or platforms that you would like to share. Because I want to share things, for example, some things that I found. Well, actually, I will share one that I discovered when I started looking into upcycling and making secondhand fashion mainstream, blah, blah, blah. I started looking at people who make that, and I came across this collective who also started this project in France in quarantine. So I thought that's really cool. And they basically are the first marketplace. Well, I don't know the first, but the first that I know. And they say marketplace for artists who upcycle clothes. So I thought maybe this would be interesting for you, for people who make something or maybe you want to buy stuff. I think it's a really cool project.
What's the
And they
name?
also, it's Isla Collective, Isla. And I follow them on Instagram. So they have like makers, different kinds of people selling their upcycled stuff on this platform. So if you're interested, check it out. It's really cool. They also like I follow them on Instagram, and they always share stories about like fast fashion and sustainability, and they're very informative. Maybe you guys have something, some platforms or makers or something that is worth sharing.
Yeah, I don't know if you use Etsy. I personally use it to sell my things.
I was also selling something on Etsy in the beginning, I remember, but then for me it was more a platform for crafts, so I kind of moved to Depop, but they also have high fees, so it's, I don't know if it's better, but it's solely concentrated on vintage, secondhand fashion.
It's very big in the UK, Depop.
Yeah.
Like, when I looked at it at first, I was like, oh yeah, maybe I'll go on Depop because I know how to use it and it's easy. And then I just realized there's not much traction from Portugal, so I just chose Etsy. But yeah, their charges are crazy.
Yeah. Actually, Depop, I remember I saw your shop, and I honestly got a bit curious because I saw a lot of people selling on Depop like secondhand,
Yeah.
and not just like handmade or like hand painted. But then actually I just went to Etsy and I found out that Etsy is the same. You can really sell secondhand on Etsy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it really depends on the niche that you see.
Okay, anyone else want to address anything about this event, about any work that we shared, any questions? How do you feel? I guess.
When you approached me with this event, I was like, oh, this is cool, like something different. And yeah, I was definitely very scared.
just don't know what I was going to talk about. I'm very socially awkward, so that's why sometimes I'm just like not saying anything for a bit. But no, honestly, I think it's good, and I think like because we're all quite new to this, I think it's good. It's a good start, and we can definitely. I'd be definitely up for doing more chats like this. I think it's quite interesting, and just to see everyone.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
In the very least, it's nice to talk and like to connect with the other creators, because I don't know, I haven't done that at all. To be honest, like I don't know many people doing this kind of things, like trying to freelance or trying to sell some of their stuff. So yeah, sometimes it's hard for you to only do this by yourself. It's nice to talk about how other people.
Are you all in Lithuania?
It's me and Martyna from this chat, which is 2 of us, and then you. Are you still in Portugal?
I'm still in Portugal, yeah.
Yeah, so you 4 from Portugal, right?
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where are you based?
So we're 3 in Portugal.
Yeah.
4.
4. Ah, all right.
Yeah.
I'm in Costa da Caparica. I moved,
nice.
yeah, the other side of the bridge, the sunny side.
Okay, I'm personally in Aveiro, between Aveiro and Viseu. So
Okay.
I'm going from one city to another one, working in Aveiro, and weekends sometimes in Viseu.
Yeah, I'm close to Porto, so like it's a bit north and Polo de Varzim, so it's way,
I
way.
really want to go to Porto. I've never been.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, well, when we're allowed to move a little bit, I'll come up.
And Nuely is in Lisbon, right?
No, Almada.
Amada.
Oh, Almada. Okay, so you're close. And we are both in north of Lithuania. So I don't know if you guys want to say anything else, or should we just end this abruptly?
Thank you. Thank you for organizing. I think.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you a lot.
We have some problems. Okay.
Thank you for joining. It was really interesting to talk to you all. Yeah.
I think for first time training, it went really well. Yeah, like at least.
I think so. Yeah, it was very interesting, for sure.
I forgot
Okay, guys, so
I forgot that you were live, and it was being recorded.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Okay, so yeah, I hope you do more auctions on your own or something. If you do, we'll share. I don't know. Yeah, if any ideas, let me know, and let's gather and do this again. And I guess I'm gonna just click the button and end this. Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
For joining.
Thank you.
Bye.